Welcome to the Beginner Guides to Coffee, and today let's exploit espresso-based drinks. As a beginner barista, someone getting into coffee, it's important to have an idea. Let's start with espresso. Here we have double shot espresso and single shot espresso. So to do that, I'll walk you through step by step how to extract your espresso shot. The reason I'm doing this because if you're new in this channel, maybe your first time watching my video, you should have an idea on what you are doing in this video. But again, I made a video already how to extract espresso shot. So today I use the Sub espresso machine, and again I already programmed the machine. Here I use 18 grams of coffee and 36 ml out as a liquid in the cup, which is 1 to 2 brew ratio. That is my espresso. And throughout the video I'll use this particular button to do the job. So to do that, first you remove the portafilter from the group head. You want to make sure it is clean and dry. The next thing, you weigh your portafilter. You weigh the portafilter to make sure that anything that will come inside the basket should be the exact amount of coffee that you want. After grinding, you need to check to confirm if the exact amount of coffee that you want. If it is less, you can add more. If it is more, you can reduce. Distribution is part of the quality when we make espresso. As you can see, on one side we have less coffee, on the other side we have more coffee. It will temp the coffee. Everything seems perfect, but when the machine extracts the coffee, because the machine extracts the coffee with some kind of high pressure around 9 bars, when the water hits the coffee ground, it disrupts the coffee, but it may lead to uneven extraction, channeling, and that is something we don't want. That is why it's important to always distribute your coffee before you temp. After distribution, you temp your coffee. Push your group head, insert your portafilter in the group head, and then you start your extraction. Here you have to monitor your time on your ml to make sure that everything corresponds. Well, as a beginner barista, someone getting into coffee, your extraction time is around 25 to 30 seconds, depending on the dose you start with. For example, here we start with 18 grams coffee and we need 36 ml out. Maybe you start with 20 grams coffee, it means you need 40 ml out. It means the ratio for your espresso is 1 to 2 to 1 to 2.5 brew ratio. Here is your double shot espresso. Now, depending on the request for the customers, maybe 1 brown sugar, 1 ice, less water, it just depends. But this is just your espresso. This is the default how you present your espresso. The next thing here, it is single shot espresso. Nowadays, we serve split shot as single shot because actually, I made a video already why we don't actually use the single shot basket. But nowadays, we use split shot as single shot. So you do your 18 grams coffee, you extract 36 ml out in 25 to 30 seconds. But on one side, you have 18 ml. On the other side, you have 18 ml. So you serve one and you waste one. Maybe you have 2 espresso, then it's okay, it is fine. Longo means long coffee. The ratio here is usually 1 to 3 to 1 to 6. Depend what kind of coffee you're using. For example, I start with 18 grams coffee. I need around 54 ml or maybe 60 ml as a liquid in the cup. Here you forget about the time, just focus on the weight of your coffee. Restricto means to restrict the flow. So you start with 18 grams of coffee, you need 18 ml out as a liquid espresso in 25 to 30 seconds. That is how I learned to make my restrictor shot. So the grind size for espresso, you go more finer to expose more surface area to creating more resistance. So the ratio for your restrictor is 1 to 1 to 1 to 1.5. So some baristas, the way they make their restrictor shot, they do 18 grams in, 18 ml out, around approximately 18, 19, 25 seconds. Now, it mostly uses when it comes to piccolo latte. That is why when you use it in milk, it's more better. Americano is just espresso and hot water. It just depends how the customer wants it. Basically, it's double shot espresso. So you start with your 18 grams coffee, you need 36 ml, and then you put your water. Depending on the cup size, every shop you have standard. And for the Americano, you have the hot and cold version. Piccolo latte. Nowadays, if you visit 10 different coffee shops, you see 10 different recipes, baristas have different ways to approach this coffee. And I think the main difference here is just how they extract the espresso shot. Now, based on my experience, as I move around, talk with roasters, baristas, coffee professionals, there are 3 ways baristas always approach this coffee. Now, the first approach here, it is single shot of espresso. Like I said before, nowadays we use split shot as single shot. So you start with 18 grams coffee, you need 36 ml out as a liquid in the cup. So on one side, you have 18 ml, on the other side, you have 18 ml. You steam your milk, you pour in. Now, the cups are usually around 4 ounces, and the milk temperature should be around 50 to 55 degrees. The second approach here is kind of 1 to 1 brew ratio. So you start with 18 grams coffee, you need 18 ml out. Here you forget about the timing, but focus only on the weight of the coffee. Like I said before, some baristas, this is how they do their restrictor shot. You steam your milk, you pour it with a cup size for around 4 ounces. Now the third approach here, it is like you go more finer. So you go more finer to creating more resistance. So you need 18 grams in, 18 ml out in 25 to 30 seconds. You steam your milk, you pour it with the same cup size for around 4 ounces. Now the first and second approach, you always see this in coffee shops, which is absolutely fine. The third approach, if you do have a really less busy coffee shop, or maybe if you're a home brewer, then it is fine for you, because the third approach, like to go find cost with your grinder, you may destroy your grinder. So the first and second approach, it is okay. The second approach, the coffee seems to be under extracted, but trust me, if you mix it with milk, you have a perfect match. Cortado is, let's say, 1-to-1 ratio. So part espresso, part milk should be the same. So here we start with double shot of espresso and steam milk. Like I said before, you start with your 18 grams coffee, you need a 36 ml out, and then you steam your milk, you pour it a cup size, usually 4.5 ounces. Another way baristas approach this coffee is 1 to 1.5 brew ratio. So you start, let's say, with 18 grams coffee, you need around 27 ml out as a liquid espresso, and then you steam your milk, you pour it. Now, the reason why baristas extract coffee differently is just because we have different roast profiles, different varieties, different processing methods, and all these things make baristas try to extract the best out from the coffee. That is why at some point you see baristas will do 1.5 ratio, 1:2, 1:2.5, even 1:3 brew ratio as well. Flat white here, it is really simple to make. It is double shot espresso, steam milk. The cups are usually around 6 ounce cup. But again, some baristas do use a restrictor shot. They claim to say the restrictor shot is more intense, and then when you mix the milk, it becomes more balanced. And we'll find out in the next video. Cafe latte. Now, cafe latte, it is really simple to make. Here we have hot and cold as well. So you start with your double shot espresso, steam milk, cups are usually around 8 ounce cup. Like I said before, every coffee shop do have their standard, the way they do their presentation. So some coffee shop they'll use 6 ounce cup, some will use 5.5 ounce cup, some will use 7 ounce cup. It just depends. But again, it is for you to have an idea on how to make these coffees. Cappuccino. Nowadays, it's really hard to prepare cappuccino. But again, based on my experience as I work with coffee, we have wet cappuccino and dry cappuccino. We have the traditional way of making cappuccino, which is, let's say, single shot espresso, and the cups are usually 5.5 ounce. But nowadays, and you have that thick foam. So the espresso, the milk should be the same. But nowadays, because people love latte art and the customers want to see latte art, now baristas have no choice than to make latte art. So at some point they serve cafe latte and cappuccino. You can't even make the difference here. But again, since the customers, they like it, it's fine, it's okay, we move with it. But again, you need to understand that cappuccino and latte, the main difference, it is just the amount of foam in the coffee. So if you're a beginner barista, I don't really understand which one is stronger between cappuccino and cafe latte. Cappuccino is more stronger because you do have more foam and less milk. Macchiato. Now we have what we call espresso macchiato and caramel macchiato for Starbucks. But again, the espresso macchiato, that is what we are doing right now. So it's just, macchiato means thin. So it's like an espresso shot depending on the customer request, if it is single or double. If it is single, you do your single shot, you steam your milk, just take a little bit of foam and put it. Like I said before, nowadays as well, there's wet macchiato and dry macchiato. So what I usually do for people who love wet macchiato, you put a little bit of milk, you stir it, and then you put your foam. For dry macchiato, no milk, nothing, then you just put your little bit of foam and you enjoy your coffee. Cafe mocha. Cafe mocha here, it is espresso, chocolate, and steamed milk. It doesn't matter what kind of chocolate you're using. You may use powdered chocolate, liquid chocolate, whatever thing you lay your hand, it is absolutely fine. So don't worry. So to do that, you can start with your chocolate. For example, if I have the liquid chocolate, I'll start maybe with 40 ml. It just depends. If you want it more sweet, less sweet, it's up to you. You can control it depending on the customer as well. So I start with 40 ml. I do my double shot espresso. I steam my milk. Then the cup size is usually around 8 ounce cup. Like I said before, there is no standard when it comes to your cup size. You pour it and you have this delicious cup of coffee. Nowadays, Spanish latte, people just love drinking that particular coffee, and it is really simple to prepare. Let's see how to do it. You need double shot espresso or single shot, it just depends. You need sweet condensed milk, Nestle. You can use any sweetener of your choice, but I think condensed milk is the default way to do this. And then you steam your milk, you pour it. Here you have hot and cold. Again, different coffee shops, they do have different recipes to do this particular Spanish, but this is just the default way. If you're a beginner barista, it is espresso, sweet condensed milk, which is a Nestle, and you have your espresso shot with your steam milk. That is just it. You have delicious cup of coffee.